Have you heard about the 4-year individual and family budget guide, payment and expense tracker, emergency fund planner, early debt payoff scheduler, and map to financial freedom by author Stephen Ural? Whether you're just starting your financial journey or looking to level up your budgeting strategy, this powerful 4-year financial planner and guide gives you the tools, motivation, and structure you need to master your money. Monthly bill payment checklist is more than a monthly bill payment checklist. It is your all in one roadmap to long term financial freedom. It's also the only book of its kind that also provides clear, step by step instructions and examples showing exactly how to apply each section to your own finances, making it both an insightful read and a practical guide for action. So stop living paycheck to paycheck and start living with purpose. Your path to financial independence and financial freedom starts here. Let this journey be a treasured companion on your journey to financial success, capturing the story of how you reach the heights of financial freedom. So click on the link in the show notes and grab your copy today. Welcome to the Real Life Moms podcast. It is time to take a break from all our to-dos and carve out this time to focus on ourselves. I'm Lisa Foster, your host, and today I'm here with Jenn Johnson, fellow mom, ER nurse, author, and wellness advocate. And she is here to guide us through trusting our gut and saying yes to ourselves. So, hi, Jenn. Welcome to the show.
Oh my God, Lisa, thank you so much for having me and especially like being so welcoming and just it's appreciated.
Oh, I love our mom talks. I love what you have to offer us today because, listen, let's just get into it, right? Because saying yes to ourselves is so hard. And I feel like it always comes for me, at least, and I think a lot of us, with a side of guilt. So, why is it so hard to say yes to yourself?
I mean, we could go down a whole rabbit hole about how we're supposed to believe we've been very much conditioned from a very young age by all sorts of different people and sources and influences about just like, oh, you're a good mom, but only if you give everything to everybody else. So I once had the conversation with my husband. I said, you know what, I had reached a point where I had hit rock bottom. I burnt out completely with COVID. Work in the ER, during all that was let's never even talk about it ever again. And it had gone to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to go on antidepressants. I'd never been on antidepressants before, so let's go down that road. I'm getting therapy. And I kind of said to him, I said, you know what? I'm just going to put myself first for a minute or maybe forever. I don't know. And he goes, oh, that's so selfish. I'm like, pardon me. like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that, and I'm gonna pretend that I did marry you of my own volition, and that was my choice, and all these things. But in this minute, I'm gonna need you to just close your mouth and walk away from me slowly because that's no, absolutely not. And that comment was just like this wave of something and it hit me and I'm going, oh, I'm so selfish. I'm like, well, you want me to be the villain? Let me be the villain. I'm going to just let's lean into that a little bit. And this idea about being villainous by just putting ourselves first and caring for ourselves, heaven forbid, became this kind of fun idea that I'm like, oh, well, let's kind of turn the script on this a lot. Let's just turn it on its head and go, if you want me to play the villain, if I'm the villain because I want to care for myself, let me be the villain. So it's been an interesting process of kind of putting myself first and seeing where that's gotten me and prioritizing my sleep and prioritizing time for myself and finding things that make me happy. And guess what? I started a business. I wrote I've written one book and I'm in the midst of two others. I've started up some fun journals and all these other things. And it's led me into this weird pocket of nursing that's like the nurse innovation space.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, well, this is really cool. This is something that I never once thought about. I never thought about being a business owner. I never thought about writing a book and all these other things. So it's like, huh. And how am I feeling? I'm feeling really like I'm feeling challenged. I'm feeling accepted. I'm getting to meet new people, and now I've extended myself into podcasts and talking with lovely people who I would have never had a chance to talk to otherwise,
Yeah.
and just goof off and be me. And so that was 2020, so we're 5 years in, and it's now kind of become this hilarious thing where it's like, Mom's a witch, Mom's a villain. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I am. And fun fact, like, in the nursing sphere, Nurse Blake is a very large figure in our nursing sphere. He's kind of like the Laura Cleary of nursing, where it's like just huge following. And I get to teach with him. And one of the classes I get to teach, not only just nursing intuition or how to trust your gut, but how to be your villain, how to
Mhm.
step into this power and really harness it for good and see what happens. Because when we start putting all this effort into us, it's crazy. The spaces that I've ended up in and the people that I've talked to and the places that I'm going, all because I said yes to me.
Amazing. Amazing. First of all, I have to say to your husband,
He's still alive.
just
He's upstairs.
quickly, a little something, but like, does he put everyone else first?
He does actually.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this is again just a different parenting style,
Okay.
where guilt was very heavy-handed in his
Mhm.
growing up and that kind of thing, where it wasn't in mine.
Yeah.
And so, he expects to run himself into the ground and for us to be thankful that he's running himself into the ground. And I'm
Hmm.
going, no, you have to put you first too. Like, you have to
Yeah.
go find a new hobby and go find some guy friends to hang out with and leave the house. Like, it's not just work and home. Like, you need more. I need you to need more because I can't handle it all.
Yes, and no one is thankful for running anybody into the ground. Like,
No.
nobody even notices that. So, yes. Okay, so you said you teach people how to be a villain. Like, so yeah, how do you
Hmm.
overcome this feeling of guilt some of us have, this just sacrificing yourself to the
Yeah.
wolves? How do we overcome that? What are those steps to be, I guess, a villain? I don't know if I like the villain name yet. I'm
It's
feeling it
again,
out. We'll see. We'll see. It's okay.
it's 100% something to get into, right? Like, it is a huge mindset shift. But if you've ever watched all of these new Disney movies that they're putting out, like the villain story, where it's the villain origin story, and that's how, here's this person who is a regular person, and then they just got pushed to the edge with a bunch of trauma or circumstances or what have you, and then they come in, and so you're like, oh well, of course Cruella de Vil ended up like that with all this backstory, and I'm like, huh,
Mm.
man, do I get her now? Like, whereas growing up as a kid, you saw that really basic cartoon and you're like, oh my God, the lady, how could she possibly? But now you get the backstory
Yeah.
20, 30 years later, and you're like, oh, yeah, I could see how somebody could be pushed to that.
Yes.
So, knowing that about all of us and knowing what we deal with on a daily basis, the mother's mental load to start it all off is insane. And then the society expectations, and then your family's expectations, and then you add on your own expectations. And truly, sometimes we are our worst enemies because the whole perfection idea, the Instagram perfect photos and the baby announcements and the showers and the gender reveals, all of which have been getting really out of hand. And Pinterest, thanks Pinterest for all of these this level of upping one another. And it's gotten to the point where, well, I understand that none of that is real, but that's a lot of because of what I do. I see everybody at their worst moment, like,
Mm.
truly, whether or not they are actually dying or not, or just think they are, that is to them their worst moment. And so I get to see this really gritty, truly authentic version of people at
Mm.
work all day long. And so that, to me, I'm like, okay, well, that's real life. This is real life. So I've got this lovely little 12 hours a day of reality check versus scrolling on Instagram and picking things off of Pinterest and hearing what everybody else is doing and going, that's not real life. Like, I know that real life is hella messy, but partly because I am hella messy, and that's okay. Like, I know my limitations. I know that I am a closeted ADHDer. Am I detail oriented? No, no. Do I pick things up and drop things and mess up things and miss important dates? Yeah, I do all of it. And I feel bad for a half a second. And then I go, it's okay because I'm human. Underscore period exclamation mark. We're just people trying to get from point A to point B. There's just so much going on for us at all angles, at all times, that how in the world could any of us do any one of those things perfectly, let alone all of them perfectly? So, coming to the idea that I am a mess and I am part of the Hot Mess Mom Club is the most freeing movement I think
Mhm.
I've ever come to terms with, because the moms groups, while they can be helpful at times, man, they can also really help you to push you off the track of, oh, my kid's not reaching that milestone. Oh, my kid's not doing that well in school. Oh, we're having this behavior at home. Oh my gosh, we're late on our vaccines. All these kind of things. It's like, oh man, like I'm just trying to get it all together. Life is messy.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, part of owning your own villain is embracing the mess,
Yep.
that life is not perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also not holding on to stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like not actually letting that one like side of guilt just be like, okay, oh well, and then give it a minute and
Yeah.
call it a day. It was interesting because before coming on, I was scrolling through Instagram, which I don't find helpful either at all.
No,
I don't know why I do it. It's like
because it's
my new
addicting.
reflex that developed in my body.
I know it's addicting, and it's you get to kind of zone out a little bit because
Yeah.
then you can finally let your brain have a minute to breathe where you are actually conscious, you're not sleeping.
Mhm.
You're conscious, but you're finally not going off on a tangent about all the different things that you need to do.
Yeah, totally. And it can make you feel good. I'd call it fake fun. It's not your real fun,
Yes.
but it's fake fun.
Yes.
However, I did see this. Sometimes they come up with great stuff. And there was this like
Yeah.
guy that I love. I don't even know where he's from, but he comes up with these like videos that I always am like, oh, I love him. And he was just holding a glass of water in a class. It was like just a 8 ounce glass of water full. And he's like, how heavy is this? And he's just holding it there. And people are like, 8 ounces, 12, and he's like, well, it depends how long I hold it for. Because the longer I hold this, then it gets heavier. And that's your
Mm-hmm.
emotions. If I just let
Yeah.
it go, it's not heavy at all. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, that made so much sense. But if I hold on to it, my arm starts to hurt. It's like it's too much. So I love like the idea of just letting go of maybe a feeling of like, oh, I should have done this or that, or I'm feeling bad that I'm putting myself first. Like let it go. If you let it go in 1 minute, it's not
Yeah.
gonna not gonna feel so heavy, right?
No, and it takes practice. Like
Yeah.
it's not like you're just gonna all of a sudden turn it all off and you're like, I'm just gonna live in the moment for me. No, it's absolutely not gonna happen that way. And truly, what ends up happening in the long term is you finally take this time for yourself, you make yourself happy. Then guess what? You're not snapping at the kids so much because you've got that little bit of resilience built up. You're happy. You see your kids see you being happy and doing other things that aren't just being a mom. And what I'm hearing from you is the guilt
Yeah.
and the feeling that you being happy is taking away from them,
Yeah.
which, how ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that we feel that our time isn't ours or
Mm.
our happiness isn't ours to have, like, and anything we spend on us is taking away from the kids. It's very funny how we somehow pick that up and internalize it and go, oh yeah, no, we're not allowed to do anything. It's an odd thing.
And have you ever stayed home? Because it happens to me. Have you ever just stayed home because you felt guilty and no one cared? No one even talked to you. It was
Yeah,
like the kids were like gone doing their own
yeah,
thing. Like no one cared. Like you could have been there or not. I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I not go, whether it's to a friend or out with my
yeah,
husband or whatever? I just chose not to do it because I felt guilty. And then no one cared. And I was like, okay,
yeah.
no one even cares that I'm home. Like, what is that?
Exactly.
No, you are an ER nurse. We are talking about trusting our gut, and I'm assuming
Hmm.
that's something you're like a master at, just being in the trenches. Really, you're gonna have to do that every day. So
Yeah.
maybe just talk about a little bit. First of all, I mean, people throw that around all the time. Trust your gut. Like, what is
Trust your
that,
gut.
and what's actually really happening there?
Yeah. So every woman over the age of 12 knows this feeling already.
Mhm.
You're walking down the street, you just get a sixth sense that somebody's either behind you or looking at you or following you, and you're just like, your back gets up and you're just like, the hackles on your neck raise, and you're like, I don't like this situation. I'm gonna cross the street, or I'm gonna duck into this coffee shop, or I'm just gonna take myself out of the situation. You go to a bar and you see some guy from across the room, and sure enough, you're like, absolutely not. 100% creep factor. He
Mhm.
hasn't said one word. He's 20 feet away from me. No.
Mhm.
And we trust that feeling innately because it comes back to our safety.
Yeah.
And we do it instinctually 24/7, 365 because we're always on guard. That's just the realities of being a woman. And so that we trust. But when it comes to trusting our gut with work or decisions for ourselves, we second guess constantly.
Yeah.
And so, at least in the ER, how it kind of manifests is I will see a patient. So I'm usually triage. So somebody comes right in and they're talking to me, and I'm getting the story, I'm doing the vitals, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't like this. Like, I don't know what part of this scenario I don't like. I don't know if I'm missing a key piece of information. I don't know if they just look sicker than I think they should, but something is off. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm going to go with it anyways. And so, sure enough, you take the patient, you bring them in, and you get them all hooked up and kind of get lab work going and all this other things. And you go to the doc and you say, hey, I've got a patient I just brought in. Here's the story. Here are the vitals. You know, the story sounds benign. The vitals are okay. Like, they're not crazy out of whack, but my gut is saying, no, there's something wrong with this. And the good docs stop
Mhm.
and pull away from their desk, and they're like, I will be there in a minute. And so, like, the more often than not that it happens, it's just a sense that you get that something is wrong. Sometimes it manifests as kind of like a physical sensation, so that heaviness in your gut, tightness in your shoulders, again, hackles on the back of your neck raising, goosebumps, that kind of thing. So that can be like physical sensations that your body is like picking up on something that you are not logically consciously aware of yet. It's already thinking 6 steps ahead, and it's already processing that information, going like, I'm looking at this scenario, this is not good, this is not going to work out, something's going to happen. And it may not be related to my personal physical safety, but it's related to my patient's safety. And what happens is, then if my patient's safety is at risk, theoretically I am at risk, right? Lawsuits, things happening, a patient dying, and me carrying that guilt or that story or that patient with me for the rest of my life. I don't want that. I've already got enough patients, that stories that follow me around. I don't need another one. So I'm looking to not have any more patient stories follow me around. So I've learned to kind of lean into that, and it keeps paying off. And sometimes, yeah, maybe I'm overreacting a little bit. Maybe I'm a little extra sensitive. I haven't gotten enough sleep. I'm a little off. That's fine. Scientific studies actually say that even me being wrong and getting the doc, and the doc saying, oh no, there's actually not, the patient's not nearly as sick as you think they are, that touch point by the doctor still improves patient outcomes. So even though I'm wrong and nothing's being done, nothing's changing, that patient is still having better outcomes because I've advocated for them. It's the weird science. I don't know if it's placebo effect or what, but you're still improving. So it's like, okay, so it's a win-win situation no matter what.
Mhm.
When I trust my gut, I'm right, we improve the patient. When I'm wrong, the doc comes to see the patient,
Still
patient still
improving.
wins,
Hmm.
which and then I win.
Yeah.
I've had other people describe it as people who work in offices or real estate. There's a deal coming through, and you feel like something's off with the deal. You feel like either there's something wrong with the deal, or you feel like there's something wrong with the person you're dealing with.
Hmm.
And you're like, I don't trust you. I think there's something hinky going on. I feel like I'm missing something. And again, it's just those senses that you're like, I just don't know. And I feel like I'm missing something. Other times it's just like questions will pop up into my head that I won't typically ask at triage if I'm just going through my daily routine. But all of a sudden I will start asking questions that are way off base, but suddenly give me all the information that I need to know exactly where I'm headed with this patient. Talking to a patient who has got pancreatic cancer and he's just there for a little bit of pain control, and all of a sudden I finish the triage and he looks well. It's not even like he's in a ton amount of pain, it's just a little bit of pain. He's just looking for a little bit of symptom relief, and I start going off on the tangent of, how are you feeling? How are you coping? Have you made any advanced directives yet? How is your wife coping with this? You have young children. He proceeds to tell me she's not accepting. She thinks that we're going to fight and we're going to win and all this stuff, where I've come to terms with it. But I can't talk to her about it because if I'm talking about my own death, she gets really defensive. She's not mentally there yet. So it's leaving me in a lurch where I want to start planning things and making sure things are teed up, but I can't talk to her about it. And so I said, well, there are death cafes that it's people who typically work in fields that include a lot of death, funeral directors, nurses, physicians, police, fire, EMS. We all get together and we talk about death very naturally because it is just natural to us. Like it's less taboo the more you deal with it. And so I said, there's death cafes all around the world. You can go in person, you can go online, and you can just sit there and listen. You can participate. Somebody will have the answers you need, but here's some information. I've never offered that up in 17 years to anybody else, but him.
Mm-hmm.
Him I offered. And so it's like, okay, so where did those questions come from? Why did I go in that direction?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I'm just trusting that my mind knows what's needed. It's gone to the point where it's been so oddly right so often that now I just go with it. And I'm comfortable enough to say, oh, if I'm way off base, that's okay. I'm way off base.
Mm-hmm.
It's no skin off my back, because the instances when I'm right very much prove I was in right place, right time, right patient.
Yeah. And going back to trusting yourself, trusting your instinct, I don't even think it has to be a wrong or right thing. It's just really, do you know what I'm saying? It's just like whatever is coming
Yeah.
up, that feeling, great. I'm just going to trust myself and point blank.
Yeah.
I also, so I'm a craniosacral therapist, and with that,
Love
there's a,
that.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that comes up, right? A lot of intuition. And that took me many, many years to trust. Like it was always in
Yeah.
me. But then like something weird would come up during and I say weird because weird things come up during craniosacral
Yeah.
sessions. They just do. You're working directly with someone's body. There are stories in there and they just kind of come out. And like, just like you, a question would just come to my mind. And I'll be like, at first I would just ignore it. I would just say, like, I'm not asking that. Like, oh my God. Like, I just felt like, ugh. And then eventually I was like, okay, if it's like just not shutting up in my head, I will say to the patient, this question keeps coming in my head, so I'm just going to put it out there and you decide how
Yeah.
that feels.
Do with it what
And
you
you're
will.
right. No matter how weird it was like every time it sparked
Yeah.
something. It may not have been what I even thought it would be, but it was always right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if it was right or wrong, but in some way it helped that person or it helped me. And the more I did it, now I just trust it. And it is a lovely, lovely thing. But you're right, when it comes to, and so work, that's one thing. And with people, I think we get used to that. It becomes part of the job, right? But
Yeah.
then when it's decisions of yourself, like, should I leave
Oh,
work? Should I move? Should I have another child? Should I, we still have those same intuition and gut feelings, but then we're always like, oh, like, why are we struggling so much
yeah.
there? I guess because there's a lot depending on the
It's too
answer.
close. It's way too close. You can
Yeah.
never be 100% unrelated if it's you, right?
Hmm.
Because you've already got bias, you've already got input, you've already got buy-in, you've already got time and effort and whatever else that you've spent in that space. And so a lot of times I'll imagine myself doing it to somebody else. So if somebody else came to me with this problem, and again, it's always relates back to the kids and emergency nursing. So the one time my daughter she fell off the couch or something, and like pretty young. She was my second kid. She fell onto carpet, immediate cry. But for some reason, like I was like freaking out. And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do in this? I'm like, okay, if somebody else brought her into triage for me to see and I'm the triage nurse, what would I say? I'm like, I would laugh them out of the triage booth. I'm like, okay, okay, everything's fine. It's fine. Everything's going to be fine. But it took removing myself from the situation in order to be a little bit more objective about it. Because
Mhm.
again, you can't unsee through the parenting lens once you're a parent. You can't unsee from the nurse lens once you're a nurse. You just can't. It's one of those switches that you can't flip off, no matter how much you want to do. But it is becoming about trusting yourself.
And I also think, just as you did with your work and I did with mine, as you see the responses that it was the right move, right? So as we
Yeah,
practice and you see the response, like, wow, that was really good. I'm so glad I trusted myself.
yeah,
Or maybe you're not trusting yourself and it's like, oh, shoot, I should have trusted myself. Okay, let's see that
yeah,
response then, right? As you
yeah,
start to see those things, then you can say, oh, like, and feel more confident probably in trusting yourself.
yeah. Keep track. Write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down, please.
Mhm.
I'm begging you because the number of times that I should have written stuff down but haven't, I could have been further along in figuring this out or figuring myself out or doing all these other things had I just had a way or I'd been smart enough to like write it down, because once it's written down you can refer back and
Yeah.
then go, oh well, I forgot about that day. Oh yeah, I did trust my gut, and oh I did go with it, and oh that was the response or that was the outcome. Holy cow, okay. And it just kind of, you forget to reinforce it to yourself because we've got so much going on, we just go and it's forgotten about. Whereas if you write it down and then you come back to it and you're like, oh, I did actually do that, and that's what happened. Or it's something where you put something out, you trusted your gut, and it takes time for that to come back to you, right? Like, oh, I applied to these jobs and totally forgot that I did that. Well, I ended up getting, so this happened to me, ended up after my second applying, I must have applied to this job because I got it. Was a pediatric job on like a peds floor, and it was a job share position. So it was part time, but it was guaranteed hours and a schedule, which was beautiful. It was the best of both worlds. So I was like, I don't even remember applying for this job. And again, it probably took months for things to finally get moving, and HR is slow and it's a really big hospital system, whatever. But I'm like, well, how else did they get my resume? Like I had to have applied. We're in a union, like there's no way to get a job without applying for it within a union setting. Huh. Well, I guess I must have applied. And so maybe it was me waking up at 3 in the morning and just kind of like groggily, like, oh, what, goofing off. And again, you're in a postpartum haze and applying to stuff. Maybe that's what I did. I don't know. But ended up that job ended up again really letting me start to run into my intuition and trusting my gut and going to Reiki and figuring out all this other things. Like that job really, especially on my spiritual journey, like really started to put on the gas for that. It was really the tipping point for a lot of things. And again, I don't remember how I got it. So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, everything happens for a reason. Clearly, this
Yeah.
happened for a
I mean,
reason.
that's a big trust because here you are opening whatever it is, an email, a phone call. I got a job, right? And
Yeah.
you don't even know you applied to it. So you really have to trust, like,
Yeah,
okay,
you're like,
I'm going to take this job that
you're
I
like,
didn't
well,
even
that
apply.
sounds, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that sounds like me. Or it was, honestly, it was probably like middle of the night while working a night shift in the emerge.
Yeah.
Probably was having a hard time looking through the job postings online at work, being half out of it, and just applying to stuff randomly because you can save your, within the portal, you can save your cover letter, you can save your resume, whatever. So it probably was 3 clicks and that was enough,
Hmm.
and completely forgot about it.
So, okay, for people who struggle with following their own intuition, they can feel the feelings, their gut. I mean, a lot of us, like you said, know that gut feeling. But they really struggle because they feel that they can't trust it. What should they start doing?
I just dare you to trust it one time. I dare you.
Yeah.
Trust it one time, see what goes on. And again, it can be a very small thing, oh, I want to go left instead of right today. Or maybe I'll just order groceries in versus like going out. Or maybe let me just, I'm just going to take a different route to work
Hmm.
instead of your typical ABCD route. Let me use my GPS and maybe I'll just start like driving and go just left or right, and then
Hmm.
go, and then left or right, go, left, right, straight, go, just and see where you end up. My most favorite thing to do is I've been to Salem, Massachusetts, probably about 4 times now. And again, out of nowhere, just wanted to go to Salem. I'm like, and this was pre-pandemic. I was like, I don't know where that came from, but sounds good to me. I want to go. So ended up going alone. First time I'd ever traveled alone. And I would just walk. And again,
Hmm.
there's a lot to do in Salem. The history there is ridiculous. Just so much architecture and so much to do. And again, it has its touristy moments, but there's just so much to do and so much history. So again, I would just walk. And then I just would, I think I want to go into this store. Oh, I think I want to go into that store, and sure enough would find things or talk to people or find out about something else that I don't think I would have figured out unless I'd gone into that store. And so
Hmm.
it's a nice little exercise that takes no it's no skin off your back, especially if you're doing it maybe in your town, but you don't really go to this one side very often. Or so my hometown, there's 3 different cores of smaller towns that had merged together through the years. And so I'm very used to my little cornerstone of Galt, Cambridge. So walking around one of the other downtowns was like really cool because it's like,
Hmm.
oh, it's all brand new and I'm safe. I'm in my hometown, but it's just something else to do. And it's getting you out of your comfort zone, which sometimes the comfort zone, as much as it's amazing and lovely and super soft, it can be a detriment because you get too comfortable, and
Hmm.
then it becomes very hard to kind of push out.
Right. And I feel like growth always happens outside the comfort zone. So beautiful
Yeah,
things happen there. And it's funny as you're talking, I am like remembering this story. I was driving to work the other day, and of course, right in front of me, totally closed off, huge accident. You may have been there, who knows, taking care of all the people.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like people are starting to turn around. And then I was like, I wonder if there's another way, just something. And
Mhm.
I am not like I need my GPS to get home from my backyard. Like I am awful at directions.
That's okay.
Horrible.
That's what
Yes.
GPS is for.
That's what it's for. Thank goodness. So I'm terrible, but I was like, "Huh, I just wonder if there's another way." And all of a sudden from the distance I see this car turn. I was like, I feel like he
Hmm.
knows where he's going. I don't know why. I just was like, I feel like, and I followed him. I just followed him, and all of a sudden he made a left, he made a right, and I came out around the accident on the street that I wanted. And I've learned something new, like, oh my God, like I can get around this way. Amazing. And right, I just followed my gut, if you will, to say
Yep.
I feel like there's something else, right? Let me stop
Yeah.
before I turn around like everybody else is doing. And it's
Yep.
amazing what you can find, a whole like secret route that I like bypassed all the traffic from this one poor guy who I followed. He didn't know I was good at that. But yeah. So interesting, right? It's the good things can happen when you follow your intuition and step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. 100%.
So, what's one thing you'd like moms to start doing after listening to this podcast?
Ditch guilt. Guilt is the most useless emotion. It is another way for somebody else to control how you behave.
Oh, I
Uh,
love that.
Fuck guilt. Just get rid of it. It's completely useless. It's not keeping you safe. It's not keeping you sane. It's not doing anything for you. If anything, it is just breaking you down day by day. Ditch it
Mhm.
if you can.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah, everything's a process. But I love what you just said that it's not doing anything for you and it's a way someone else can be controlling you. So,
Yep.
that I love that. That's amazing. So, where can the listeners find you and what do you offer?
Oh my gosh. So my books are all on Amazon. So if you search up Jennifer A. Johnson, RN, you'll find my page. It's got the Villain Journal. It's got a bunch of nursing journals and my nursing book, Nursing Intuition, How to Trust Your Gut, Save Your Sanity, and Survive Your Career. You can find me at nursejenn, JENN.ca is my website. You can find me, oh my gosh, Instagram and Facebook at ernurse.jenn, JENN. And then I'm actually most active on LinkedIn. I don't, again, it's one of those weird random things that I happen to figure out, but everybody needs to be on LinkedIn. It is a huge, it's got huge potential for anybody who's even just looking to connect with like-minded people. It's fantastic. So on LinkedIn, I'm Jennifer Johnson, BSCNRN.
Thank you
Anytime.
for coming on the show. This has been such a fun conversation. You're a joy to talk to. And I know you have worked hard today, or maybe it was yesterday, AM. I don't
This
know
more,
what
yeah,
time.
yeah. I just got off a shift at 7, so that was about an hour ago.
Oh my goodness. Well,
So
thank you for showing up for us and for
anytime,
everybody else that you're helping.
anytime. Just happy to help.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. And Jen was such a pleasure to talk to. If you want to learn more about her and all that she offers, just click on the link in the show notes. And until next week, keep carving out time for yourself and keep putting yourself on top of your to do list.